quorum, Mr. Crum?
Yes, I believe we do. We'll go ahead and move forward.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion?
That's the agenda, rather.
Oh, the agenda, I'm sorry. I assume that motion still stands. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, public comments. Do we have any, Mr. Crum?
We have not received any public comments in advance of today's meeting. I'll just pause a second and see if anybody from the audience would like to address the commission. Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, back to you, sir.
Okay, well, back to you as for the executive director's report.
I just feel like I want to stand up so I can see everybody. Right? Well, welcome everybody. Thank you. We're really looking forward to today's conversation. For my executive director's report, there's just a couple very quick things I'd like to highlight. As normally, it's included in your agenda package. So the 3 items. First, happy GIS Day. Anybody know what GIS is in the audience? Geographic Information System. Whitney, you don't count. Well, the GIS is, for many of you know, it's some technology that our staff really relies on to do mapping, but really data analysis. And we have some great people that do tremendous work using GIS. Sarah Kidd is one of them that many of you are going to get to meet today. But when you go out and go around our building today, you'll see our information monitors. Please just take a moment and take a look at some of the maps rotating through. And Sarah will remind me, it's just not a pretty map, Bob. There's a lot of data behind those maps that really allows us to analyze information for you all. So please take a look at that. But we're really proud of a lot of the work that our staff does, particularly in that GIS area. Second thing I wanted to mention, you should have all received an invitation from Cindy that on December the 7th, we will be meeting here beginning at 10 a.m. with the Hampton Roads Caucus. As you know, we've had change in the caucus. I believe this is going to be one of their first official meetings. Please RSVP to Cindy because we'll start at 10, but we're going to keep going through lunch and we want to have lunch for everyone. But this is going to be an opportunity for Mayor Pons as your chair, Mr. McCarty as a TPO chair to share our regional legislative priorities with the Hampton Roads Caucus. And then most importantly, just a chance for you to get some one-on-one time as we're, people are out in the lobby and maybe getting some lunch and you'd be able to interact and engage with those caucus members. So I hope as many of you can join us as possible. We will advertise it as a public meeting, but I'm really looking forward to that. And then finally, I'm just going to end on some tremendous news. Some of you heard this at the TPO, but I think you're all aware that this past week, Governor Youngkin and other dignitaries broke ground on the I-64 gap. Mayor Tuck, thank you for being there. Mr. Shepard was there from York County. We were up in New Kent by the rest stop, but the 29-mile I-64 gap will be widened and improved. The beginning of 28, it will be completely done. The first segment will be the 9 miles on the Richmond end, and they're going to break ground here in December on that. So that's something you've been working hard on in your legislative priorities, and just really appreciate everybody's advocacy to get that project fully funded. Mr. Chairman, I'll go back to you, sir.
Okay. So next on the agenda is the consent agenda. You want to talk about that?
Yes, this month is just your meeting minutes and treasurer's report. Mr. Chairman, I would request a motion and a second to approve that consent agenda today.
Is there a motion? Thank you, Mr. Hippel. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tuck, Mayor Tuck. All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to be very quick here, and then I'm going to call Greg Grutendorf up to your Deputy Executive Director to really set the stage for today. But we're really excited about today. This is an opportunity for us to break the mold a little bit on PDC meetings. There is so much going on amongst the program areas at your Hampton Roads Planning District Commission, work that's happening on a daily basis that our tremendous staff advances. But you don't always have time in monthly board meetings to be able to share that information with you. This is an opportunity for you all to get to know our staff, understand what they're doing, and really understand how it benefits your locality. So we're really looking forward to this. Before I ask Greg to come up, I'll just say one thing. You have the best planning district commission staff in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The professionals, the professionals that many of you know and others that you're going to meet today, they work incredibly hard for you. Other PDCs don't have the breadth of programs you're going to learn about today. And we are just really looking forward to sharing the work that we do, having conversations with you. And I'll ask Greg to come on up and kick it off for us. Yes, I think we're going to start, guys, with a little video, and then Greg's going to tell you what this is going to look like today. Fingers crossed, everyone.
This challenge coin represents collaboration in Hampton Roads. At the HRPDC, we're in the business of bringing people together to tackle the challenges that face our region.
We're working to protect and develop affordable housing opportunities for all, and to expand home ownership for first-time homebuyers with down payment and closing cost assistance programs.
We're here for technical assistance and to produce a variety of regional data products, including lots of maps and apps.
We provide regional planning, modeling, forecasting, and benchmarking to help chart the future.
We're the hub for regional emergency management initiatives.
From mitigation to recovery, we're here to enhance regional preparedness.
When it comes to environmental education, we've got you covered. Just ask hrgreen.org.
Resources for residents, businesses, and students alike to make Hampton Roads a little cleaner and greener.
We work with our localities and military partners to build more resilient communities.
We're developing planning and design standards that count for sea level rise and precipitation. And we serve as a forum for drinking water and wastewater utilities to come together and share best practices.
We're always looking for opportunities to address affordability and water quality improvements.
And we have a robust regional stormwater management program that is dedicated to protecting our local waterways and the Chesapeake Bay. We work with our state and federal partners to stay informed on decisions affecting our local water programs.
And we continue to work towards ensuring that all of our programs and initiatives are available for you.
We are so excited to continue our work to make this region the best it can be. We are the HRPDC.
So you all, a lot of you have probably seen that video before. We did it, provide it with our work program. One of the questions that just really comes up frequently is, what does the PDC all do? And I think with good reason, it's really hard to track all the things that are going on and all the things that we're involved with. A couple weeks ago, I heard Doug Smith from the Alliance say, all good regional things in Hampton Roads have Bob's fingerprints on it somewhere. And I think that's a testament to what goes on in this organization. With the depth and the breadth of the initiatives that we have our fingerprints on, it's no surprise that people get confused where we are and why we're doing it. We convene and support a lot, and quite often we're just out of the spotlight. So I wanted to just share a few quick stories with you all, just things that I've seen over the last year. Last month, I was at the Hampton Roads Housing Consortium award ceremony. Our Housing and Human Services team was receiving an Across the Region Service Award. Longtime friend of mine was sitting next to me and leans over. She goes, "You guys do housing too?" This past summer, I got a call from my daughter. She was in a bar in the bathroom. Kind of a strange time to get a call from your daughter. She's like, "Dad, why are there stickers from your work in a bathroom?" So there's Ask HR Green telling you what to do and what not to flush, right? In a very different way. Last week, I was in an office building downtown. We're waiting for a meeting to start. There's a bunch of us in front of this map. Big, beautiful map. PDC logo right there on the bottom makes me proud. Our maps are everywhere. People don't know the PDC maps, but PDC maps are just everywhere. In March, I was at a symposium in Lexington, Virginia, VMI, and I'm standing in line for lunch. And there's a couple people in front of me, and they're talking about what session they're going to go to next. They're talking through it, and they said, let's look at this one. Let's go to this one. The one they chose was one that 3 PDC staff were presenting at. And I quote, Hampton Roads is always doing cool stuff. Early this summer, I was at a thing at the beach. You know, they have all the events out there, and there's an off-road ambulance. How cool is that? An off-road ambulance. When I looked at this thing, is like I knew exactly what it was, and I saw it first time in person. And I was especially excited because I know that REM staff, emergency management staff, was the one that attained federal funding to pay for this regional asset. And I got to see it sitting there. A couple of weeks ago, I was with some economic developers and they were discussing various economic impact analysis. One of them said, but if you want the actual numbers, you have to use a PDC model. Last year, I was at a groundbreaking for high-speed internet. People look confused as to why PDC staff was there. They're celebrating a $35 million grant that PDC staff wrote and administer and are delivering to the region. Just yesterday, I was talking to one of our principals after hours, and she was telling me that there were some serious concerns raised about some local proposed permit requirements yesterday, and local staff got together and they contacted PDC, and PDC staff was asked to contact the director of DEQ, and within hours, they had an invitation to draw new permit language. With depth and breadth like that, it's really difficult sometimes to see all the places that the PDC is involved with. And like I said, we're rarely in the spotlight. And so I know that staff are often regarded as the go-to people for convening, but they're also the go-to people because they're the experts in many areas in Hampton Roads. So the purpose of today is kind of multi-purpose, but part of this is just to give you all an opportunity to talk to staff, to learn what staff are doing, to see some of the depth and breadth. I know 10 minutes per table is not near enough time, but at least it'll give you some insight into what staff are doing. You have a chance to ask questions, and you can see a little bit more of the program areas and the places where we work. A lot of it's with local staff, some of it with regional staff, sometimes even at the state and federal level. But the fingerprints of this organization are all around, and the reach is quite impressive, and this is an opportunity to get to know that. And I just wanted you all to have a chance to see what we're doing and understand why it is that we're doing it together. So we have 6 tables set up, and we're going to do this in 10-minute shifts. So 10 minutes, and then we're going to ask you all to move, pick up your stuff. Yes, it's going to be frustrating. We're going to move in a clockwise format. So we're going to go around the room this way. Staff are going to stay at the table. We're going to ask the board members to shift. And then you'll have 10 minutes with new experts. And you'll have name tags on. It's a little bit fun. Please wear your name tag. All the moving around can shake things up, so at least we'll know who's going where. And at the end, we'll reconvene. So any questions? None. Perfect. All right. With that said, I'm going to ask our table leaders to go ahead and engage. And for those who are in the audience, please feel free to roam around the room and to listen to the discussions that are taking place.
From last session, everybody can just stay in place. If I could have everybody's attention, Mayor Pons is going to call us back to order. Rob's going to start the recording again.
I know everyone's had a lot of fun, but let's move on to the next part of this. And I guess we have some questions and comments. And Bob, you want to talk about what you're showing up here?
So what we'd like to do is just get your reaction to a couple of questions, and we're really interested in all of you as participants in the meeting. And you don't have to answer all these, and we'll just let people raise their hands as they like to provide input. But we'd like to know what maybe something that caught your attention today. What did you learn about that surprised you? Right.
Bob, I'll just kick that off. I think for me, the first one, what caught my attention today was the amount of talent that is represented here at the PDC amongst all of the staff members and what they bring to the table that benefits all of our communities. I hope that all of our communities are working with all the different departments and staff members to make sure that they are implementing the best practices. And I think that's what the other thing that resonated with me is through this organization, our individual communities have the opportunity to learn from one another through the conduit of the HRPDC. And so that's what really struck me. So anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Yes, sir.
Yes. And we have 2 mics in each table. They should be on. If you could just press them, and that way it would be nice and audible. So
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, thank you. What caught my attention was how cold this room is this afternoon. But other than that,
got a little hot back there.
I was very impressed because I've not had this level of information with the PDC and all the presenters, how knowledgeable and skilled they were. Impressive. And the other thing that impressed me too is about emergency management. I'll often be concerned about if we have a natural disaster or something that happens catastrophic, in the region, how would we bring all of these partners and localities and stuff together? I love that you guys are forward thinking and proactive on that. But all of the presenters were outstanding.
thank you. There's got to be one more on that question, right?
I've got one. Being here a little while now and talking from the A team, I mean, we just, yeah, thank you. It is amazing how much talent we have in this room. And, we're always better as a group than we are single. And all of our communities, from cities to counties, we can all learn something or gain something from this group and be able to utilize all the stuff that's going on. Well, from our emergency management to our storm water, to how we plan our community, how we get funds, how we develop things, and what we do. So it's, rather than each one of us working separately, James City County's got this idea, Williamsburg's got this, Hampton's got this, Newport News got this. And we come together and go, okay, how can we together make each one of our communities better? And, we have a different need than maybe Williamsburg has, and we're right next to each other. We surround each other, but we have different needs and all that, but we can get those needs met here in this room. So I want to thank you for that.
So keeping the mood light, Greg asked for just 15 seconds to say something real quick. Greg?
Yeah, just a couple things. I know you all want to wrap up real quick. I think, as you identified, there's a lot of sharing about best practices for the localities that is facilitated by the staff in this room. If I could just get everybody to give staff a round of applause real quick. I'm a little nervous about the talent that you saw, and I'd appreciate if we can all take an oath that you're not going to steal any staff from this room, because we would love to hang on to them. They're fantastic, and we want to keep them. And finally, for anybody who was fortunate enough to spin Katie and Rebecca's wheel, your prize is that you get to take home one of Shernita's houses.
So Mayor, if we could, just quickly, the 2 other questions, would like to touch on this if we could. So is there a specific topic that you heard about today that maybe you'd like to see us drill down on in a future commission meeting? Maybe, give you a little more information on, be interested. No right or wrong answers, but just curious if anything really piqued your interest that you'd say, but I'd like to learn more about that. Because we want our commission agendas to be valuable for you. So any thoughts on that?
Bob, one of the items we talked about, the water resources, specific drinking water, we have a big problem in our county with these small community water systems constantly violating the standards and getting warning letters. And, VDH really doesn't do any follow-up enforcement. And we talked, and that is a common problem that your staff is seeing as well, that, this is something that is talked about. But our concern is these people who are drinking the water in these community water systems aren't being served a quality product, and there's no enforcement mechanism from the state. And they know it, they're just not doing anything about it.
Fantastic, thank you. Mr. Hippel, did you have another one?
Yes, I talked to your staff a little bit, and I'm gonna talk some more, and reach out to them as far as single point discharge, septic tank failures, and, different systems that people put in that, they'll spend $50,000 on a septic system that fails again. And I've got one in my area that's doing that now and want to go with single point discharge. And by the health department, they'll allow it, but we won't. And we're trying to put something in place now for a special use permit or some type of permit. And I'm working with our staff and the attorney to put the words in and what we need to have in there, right? But in order to protect our waterways, because, if you go to the health department and say, I have these issues and now my septic won't work anymore, and I want to do a single point discharge, the health department will give them that permit. Well, it might work on the first homeowner and everything works well, but I'm worried about the second and third homeowner and what's going in our waterways. Because most people, as long as they can flush that toilet, after that, it's bye-bye. We don't really care where it goes. And, and that's our water source. So, we've got to be careful on that. So that's something we might want to look into. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we had the best house till Tornado Tuck came in.
Anybody else? Any specific topics you'd like to learn more about? Mr. Chairman, anything you wanted to pique your interest for that second question?
It seemed to me that everybody has a good handle on where they're heading. Each one of the tables had really fascinating information. Always interested. Yep, always interested in hearing from John Sadler, who I've had the opportunity to meet with before, in terms of his efforts to coordinate all of the emergency management stuff. So, yeah. How about anybody else? Any thoughts? Would you like to hear more about?
Well, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, it may be just one last final question. We'll be quick on this, but when you look at our region, do you see any possibilities for regional cooperation that really excite you? Obviously, we have a lot of momentum going, right? What's next? Any big idea thoughts for us? Things that you want us to be thinking about?
One
over here. Yeah.
One area, and forgive me, Chris, about this, but one area that we're dealing with is juvenile detention. We're working to expand that. Right now, the state has got a cap on new juvenile detention centers for them to participate in. And as we all know, there's a huge need in the area, and especially in mental health. So that's one area that I think is the top of mind issue for us as far as region. And we're already working together on some of that, but that is an area that I think we can expand, and regional jails as well.
I've got one. How about, a lot of times we'll spend time trying to, just like it was talked about, Greg talked about, hey, don't steal any of my people. But, we're constantly looking for new, better people, and we lose one and we need another one. And that's why, how can we regionally protect each other, but protect us as a region as well? Because we're always trying to fight and get, if we see a really good person, we all want them. And so how do we stop cannibalizing our neighbors' personnel?
I'll add, over here at the table that Mr. Hipple's at with the plan. Does anybody want Mr. Hipple going once? But Ms. Kidd and I were talking about GIS data and how she's able to collect data. The ability for her to assimilate all that information is ever more important the more data she has. And how can we as individual communities provide additional information or have more of a seamless connectivity that information is available so that she can populate it, or any one of the different municipalities can populate information that would be useful to us.
Good, thank you. Anyone else?
I'm curious, and I'm not sure if this is in 3, but I know on the peninsula, a lot of us use LiDAR data. I don't know how prevalent it is on the south side, but we use it when we're talking about planning, certainly with respect to flooding, because I know that Langley Air Force Base several years ago, they somewhat fortified the base against major storm events based on LiDAR data. They knew which areas were more prone to flooding, and so they put these I think door gates and other things which remove the necessity to do all these sandbags every time there's a storm event. So I don't know again if it's used on the south side, but I think it might be something that would be beneficial. I could be wrong in that.
Mayor, thank you. Ben, would you mind? That's very, very timely because I know Ben's working on a project.
Yeah, I think Casey and I, we were inconsistent in our messaging across the 6 tables, but I'm happy to report that we just kicked off a project with the USGS and some other federal agencies to get new LiDAR data for the eastern half of the region. So the western half recently acquired in the last 2 to 3 years, new data that was funded by the state and by FEMA and some other federal partners. But the eastern half, so Hampton, Newport News, Pocosin, York County, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Norfolk, hadn't received federally funded data that's going into the federal kind of data sets since 2013. But the new data is good. They're going to start collecting. They're going to fly that starting next month, actually. So that's a big win for the region, and take advantage of some of the resources we have here and leverage some federal funding from the Department of Agricultural and the Natural Resources Conservation Service to make that happen. So should have that final or beginning of 2025.
Yeah, and what Ben won't say is that he was a huge part of making that happen. So I really, really appreciate him leaning in on that work. Any other ideas, things that excite you about regional cooperation? Now let me say, this doesn't have to stop today. In fact, it shouldn't, right? So as you go home, process what you heard today. Any thoughts, ideas you have for us, Mr. Chairman? I would really appreciate that. Before I turn it back over to our chair, you've got to meet our incredible staff today. That we're equally impressed and honored by the quality of our commission members. So I just want to, there aren't many places in the Commonwealth or other places that are going to set aside a couple of 2-3 hours to be patient and have the conversation that you all had today about regional issues. So on behalf of our staff, thank you for what you do all the time for us. But thank you for your participation today. It's really an honor for us to work on your behalf. So Mr. Mayor Pons, I'd like to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Crum. And just I want to echo that thank you. I know we're here a little later than normal, but I think the exercise today was beneficial. Everybody hopefully got a little more information, learned more about the PDC and how it could benefit you all as an individual community, but moreover how it works for the region. So we have upcoming meetings. Bob, you want to talk about that real quick?
Yes, we do not meet in the month of December. That's when our HR TAC and HRMFA boards meet, but we'll be back at it in January. Just a quick reminder on that December 7th Hampton Roads Caucus meeting here in this room. That will give us, I know Mayor Pons plans on being there, and we'll be sharing our regional legislative priorities with the Hampton Roads Caucus. We just want to sincerely wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holiday season, and really look forward to working with you all in 2024.
Absolutely. There's no old or new business,
No, sir.
then we are adjourned.
Oh,
Yep, I'm sorry, yes.
I know the first one is number one. So, Ruth, the number one place was workforce housing, which was, there it is. Affordable housing, and that was this group here.
What about over there? We were affordable. Mayor Tuck, I think we were affordable housing.
Sorry. Number 3 was our first group right here, Mr. Stevens. And number 4 was Mr. Hipple, our builder. And we had a tornado come through that tore down our tiny home. So, Mr. Keaton, we're sorry that there was an honorable mention for that group. So I know they were dying to see who won
We
the
just
thing.
proved that tiny houses don't work.
We are adjourned.
We want to keep it. All right, I got to get back.